Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Ask Me Anything here on Monday afternoon. Hopefully, the stream works on camera. If it doesn't, it's on Twitter. So we'll be able to do it all there as well as always. And of course, you have a question on Twitter, you can ask me in the chat on Twitter. Otherwise, right here, the weather in Illinois is frightful. If you watched the Bears-Niners game, you saw that. So hoping that the stream holds up just fine. If it doesn't, again, it's on Twitter and it's recorded, so you can find it all there. We will see how things go. It might be a bumpy ride on the video based off of the weather, but hopefully the stream normalizes and it's good and we're fine and good to go. Okay, so as always, I usually lead with something out of Stacking the Box, and I wrote about the Packers. I led with the Packers, but that has not been the story today. The story today has most certainly been Patrick Mahomes and his PFF grade and everything based off that. And look, I'm not going to go all the way through that. Okay, I spent time going back and forth all morning doing that. I normally, respect Pro Football Focus. I think they do a lot of good work. And B, look, I'm not going to get into a back and forth with a lot of these guys. Like, I respect what they do, and I don't sit there and try to replay. I watch the games. I respect that. Grading Patrick Mahomes as the 8th best quarterback in week 1 is insane. There's no justification for him ranking 8th. You want to rank him behind Josh Allen? I think those guys were 1-1A this week. That's fine. Like, you want to rank him second? I'm cool with that. The Rams are a better team than the Cardinals, all that stuff. There is no world where Patrick Mahomes ranked behind Jameis Winston, who basically didn't know what a football was for 3 quarters by the way he played yesterday, or Ryan Tannehill lost at home to the Giants and was no means anything special. I think sometimes we miss the forest for the trees. Like, it's not box score analysis if you watch the game and it matches up with the box score. Mahomes' box was 30 for 39, 360 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And if you watch the game, that's exactly what it looked like. He was phenomenal. And just because, and I'm not saying PFF feels this way, but just because you think he's supposed to be great and then he is great doesn't mean he's somehow less great. It means he's great. That's fine. But that grade, I'm sorry, based on the game that he played, is not accurate. And so, look, that has obviously caused a ton of consternation, a lot of back and forth. It has been the story of the day. But I'm just going to say, look, moving on from that, the bottom line is what actually happened on the field. And what happened on the field was Mahomes was brilliant. He was everything you could have expected him to be, as were the Chiefs, who were up 37-7 after 3 quarters and started yanking guys. The final score is 44-21. It's rare you win by 23 points on the road, and you feel like that is not an accurate reflection of how big of a blowout the game was. But that's what we saw. And we will see Denver and Seattle tonight to end week 1. So that is where we are. I will take your questions. I know there's a lot of them. We'll get to them. And again, you can listen to this on Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, you follow me. You can just click right in. If you want to watch it on video, we're here. We're live. Take your questions there too. Again, hopefully the stream holds. Finally have new internet. Now the internet is being assaulted by the worst weather I've seen. And maybe this area is seen in quite some time. All right, let me get to your questions. I'll start through the video chat here. And if you have a question on Twitter, just put it in the replies. Just reply to the chat, and I'll get to them one by one, I promise. Jeremy asks, thoughts on Keenan Allen's injury and possibly missing Thursday? Biggest injury miss for either team if it happens? It sounds like he's going to miss the game. I mean, he talked yesterday after the game. He did not sound very confident he would play. It's a quick turnaround. A hamstring injury, you'd think even if it was on Sunday, he might be tough for the game. Thursday, yeah, it seems like that's going to be really difficult. You never want to rule him out. I'm not a doctor, okay? I don't work for the Chargers, but that would seem like a very, very, very uphill battle. I would not expect him to go in this game. And yes, if he misses, yes, it would be bigger than McDuffie being out. It would be bigger than if Trey Smith misses the game. Yeah, it would, because their whole offense changes. You can then double Mike Williams, and they don't have another guy that scares you going down the field. Like, with all due respect to DeAndre Carter or Josh Palmer, like, they're not Keenan Allen. So yes, whereas I think the Chiefs have some depth in those places where, if Allen's out, or excuse me, Allen, if If Smith is out, Allegretti, I think, can step in and at least be good. He's not Trey Smith, but he's not terrible. So yeah, I would agree with that. Any word on McDuffie? Asked Cody Campbell. No, not that I've seen, other than just Spagnuolo giving an update today that he strained his hamstring when he slipped on the turf. Which is too bad because he played really well, actually. Thoughts on the Chiefs pass rush from Ed E. It was really good. They had 3 sacks. They had a ton of pressures. In fact, I forget who charted. It might have been Pro Football Focus. Wouldn't that be ironic? Might have been Football Outsiders. I'm not sure. 3 of the top 4 guys in pressures yesterday were on the Chiefs. Karlaftis, Dana, and I believe the other one is Chris Jones. They played very, very well. They played very well. They got a rush on Murray all day. If he wasn't as mobile as he is, I think the Chiefs probably would have had a few more sacks. Maybe had 5 or 6. They played very well. If they get that kind of pressure every week, I think you're very happy, especially really, they blitzed a little bit. That's what they do. They didn't blitz a ton. It wasn't like they were blitzing over half the snaps or something. They did a nice job. I think you have to be happy with the effort and with the results. They held Murray under 6 yards per attempt. So very, very good job of the defense. Jason's asking, what is the plan for Bucker on Thursday? Jason, I don't know if the Chiefs have one yet. I think he proved he can kick field goals, right, and extra points. Now, is that enough to dress him on Thursday? Maybe a night of sleep and rest. It got a little more of painful, a little more swollen. Who knows? I don't know. I'll try and find out and do my best there to see if I can ascertain some information there. But yeah, I don't know that they've made a plan. I know they're working out a kicker today in Vizcaíno. Okay. Stacy, my guy, asking, do you think there was a concerted effort to spell starters once the game was out of hand, considering the short week? Pacheco's carries come to mind. Stacy, yes, 100%. Absolutely, I think that was a concerted effort. First of all, they were blowing him out, right? There's no reason to risk injury, period. But yeah, I 100% feel that way. I think the Chiefs realize, look, we got a game in 4 days that matters. It's a big game. Like, we're not going to have anybody getting hit if they don't have to. I think it's smart. Like, what is the upside of playing your starters all the way through the fourth quarter of that game? What, for some style points? Who cares? You won. You should be happy with winning. Move on. I think the Chiefs have to feel really good about the way the game went. Obviously, a couple injuries, but none of which seem like they're long-term. So I think the Chiefs should be very, very happy with their week 1 effort. All right, let me get some of the questions here from Twitter. Josh Hilger asking, how much do you think Andy will use screens to offset Mack and Bosa's pass rush? Is it possible we're finally going to see Andy use Clyde in the passing game more often, or will we possibly see more McKinnon on Thursday with his ability to pass block and catch balls on swing routes and screens? Josh, great question. And yes, I think you're going to see a lot of quick throws in the screen game. I think you're going to see a lot of motion. You're going to see everything they can to slow the pass rush down. I think that's the whole game against the Chargers. If the Chiefs slow that pass rush down, I think they win. And if they can't, I think they lose. I think that is the pivot point. I think that it's really, really important for the Chiefs to be able to contain that rush, which had 6 sacks, which looked great. That's going to be the important thing, is that they slow it down. So yes, I think you're going to see some screens. And I do think, both guys will play. I think Clyde's going to play, and McKinnon's the best blocker that they have. McKinnon depleted some DB yesterday. Played very, very well. Pat Carringer asking, do you think CEH will get more snaps in a closer game, or is this a committee? I think it's a committee, but he showed himself very well yesterday. He's clearly the starter, right? But I think all of them have a role. Pacheco looked good. McKinnon's going to be in there on blocking downs. He gives you an outlet out of the backfield as well. So I think they all have a role. But CEH is definitely the starter for them. Jackson, super follower. Appreciate you, man. What do you expect for the Chiefs-Chargers game on Thursday? Like I just kind of said, I think, look, the biggest thing is going to be the Chiefs have to slow down that pass rush, right? If they can do that, and there's time and there's space for Mahomes to throw the ball, I think he'll be just fine. I respect the Chargers secondary, even if J.C. Jackson isn't there. They're not stopping the Chiefs if they can't get a pass rush. Nobody is. You have to get a pass rush to stop them. Conversely, if Allen's not there, I expect the Chiefs to double Williams and I would try to choke off a lot of these short routes. Look, it's weird because normally you think of a guy like Herbert, as great as he is, and you think to yourself, okay, now this is a guy that we can't let beat us deep, right? Rocket arm also. They are a very short, quick passing team. That's what they do. Even when Allen and Williams are there, they'll occasionally stretch the field, right? Like anybody. But that team, they like to go underneath. quick, high percentage throws. I think if you're the Chiefs, you try to take away Williams. You roll up and play man, and you try to just absolutely take away anything underneath with guys you feel you can guard one-on-one, and you don't let Williams get over the top of you. He's the one guy who I would believe can do something there. And I see Jeremy and Stacy saying, hey, spread them out. I totally agree with that too. I absolutely. If I'm the Chiefs, like I said, I think it's a lot of quick stuff. It's screens. It's motion. To me, that 4 and 5 wide. You want the Chargers to have to declare and take their pass rush out of the game. And if you can do that, I think the Chargers are at a big disadvantage. What's your owned by Baby? Hilarious name. What's your opinion on the lack of respect or even disrespect on Travis Kelce, who will be or is now the greatest end of all time? I don't know if it's a lack of respect. I do think that it's, look, like people just keep waiting for him to fall off a cliff because he's in his mid-30s, but he just keeps doing it. And he looked great yesterday. There was no slowdown in his game. Look, the thing people underestimate about him is how well he runs routes. And if you run routes like that, you're going to get open all the time. He's very, very, very football savvy, and he's a great route runner. That combination with who's throwing him the ball is going to mean a lot of yards and a lot of catches. All right. Let's see. I stand for my rights. Asking how long until the media says Mahomes has too many weapons? That's a funny question. I don't know. By Friday, if they win the game and they hang another 35 points up there, probably then. Look, it just the Chiefs are so talented that it annoys some people. I mean, and if Buffalo wins the Super Bowl, by the way, it's going to start happening with Buffalo. It's going to start happening with them. Hey, Jeff, what's up, man? How you doing? Arrowhead Wire's asking, do you see McDuffie playing on Thursday? I mean, he's got a hamstring, just like I said about Allen. I think it's going to be tough. And if you're the Chiefs, like you're not going to chance that, right? Like you got the mini bye after this game before you play the Colts. Like if I'm the Chiefs, I'm not running anybody out there that I think needs a few extra days. Okay. Especially considering the Chargers might not have Allen and all that stuff. All right. Kelsey BR, what is the PFF grade based in? Fantasyland. I don't know. And like I said, I really respect those guys. I really do. I think they do a lot of great work. I think they do some important work. But that's just, I mean, that grade is, I'm sorry. Like, and by the way, the guy I was going back and forth with is Sam Monson, who actually, we follow each other. I have a lot of respect for Sam. I think he does a tremendous job. Okay. It's not a personal thing, but I'm going to call BS if I see it. It's BS. It's a bad grade. It's a bad job. And by the way, I wouldn't have just done it if that was Mahomes. Like if Allen graded as a 70, I would have been like, what are we talking about? That's crazy. That's not realistic. All right. Let me get back here into some of the video questions. Thank you, everybody, by the way, for joining me. Got hundreds of people here. It's very, very cool to be able to do this with all of you on a Monday. Tom Hood says Kelce can make people miss in the open field as most tight ends can't do. You're right. He's got good wiggle to him. And he's faster than most tight ends, even at his current age. Clips. Can we please get Keenan Allen to admit who he said was going to be exposed this year? Mahomes, 5 TDs. Kelce, 120 yards. And Tyreek, 10 catches, 97. Who the F is he talking about? Effing ridiculous. Listen, you know what? Talk's talk. Okay. Keenan Allen's a damn good player. He's earned the right to say some things. And the Chiefs have earned the right to be a target for a lot of teams because they're great. Think about it, if you're Keenan Allen, every single year you play to win the division, and every single year the Chiefs do it. So, listen, I'm sure he's going to be bitterly disappointed if he can't play this week, and I don't blame him. I would be too. Jalen is asking, any concerns of McDuffie being injury prone? I am, because he's a smaller corner and it's his second injury. No, I'm not. I mean, look, anybody could slip on turf, right? Like anybody could slip on turf. Anybody could take a knee to the helmet. Like that stuff didn't happen because he was small. It just happens. It's football. Like, I'd be more concerned if it was stuff like, when he was getting hit and it was, I don't know, stuff that you're like, well, that happened because he took on a tight end and, he's too frail. That's not what happened on either one of the injuries. So no, I don't see that. Katie Hawk, after seeing the Bucs against the Cowboys last night, they seem unimpressive. Are you at all worried about that game? Yeah, I am, because Brady's still facing a really young defense, and it's still Brady on Sunday Night Football in his own building. Brady could be 74 years old, and I'd respect the fact they could win that game. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to respect them. You have to respect them. They are still a very good football team. I have them third in my power ranking, so yeah, I respect them. They weren't overly impressive against Dallas. Part of that was Dallas is just awful right now. But part of that, yeah, Tampa didn't play particularly well offensively. I will say this: if Donovan Smith and Godwin are out for that game, then that changes the calculus quite a bit. I would say that. Jeremy's asking, do you think we see more 2 and 3 tight end sets Thursday to help with chipping on Mac and Post? You could. I'll tell you who actually really surprised me in the game on Sunday was Noah Gray. Noah Gray blocked the hell out of a couple guys in that game. He really did play well. Look, you know what the Chiefs are going to do, right? The Chiefs are going to give you a million different looks. That's who they are. It's what they do. I'm with Stacy and the other guys here. I'd spread them out. I'd spread them out and say, look, we're going to throw the ball in two seconds, and you're not getting home quick enough. But if you want to take a deeper shot, then yeah, you might do it out of some bigger personnel groupings because you can chip. So yeah, I think you'll see it all. I mean, with Andy, you're going to see it all, right? You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. But I do think I would prefer that they try to go spread them out and say, look, you're going to put your 4th and 5th and 6th DBs on the field. And we have an advantage all over the field at that point if you're Kansas City. That's how I feel. Jeff, I answered this before, man, but McDuffie, will he play Thursday? I don't think so. I don't know for a fact, but, it's a hamstring injury. I'd be surprised. All right. Let's see. Jeremy says the field in Arizona was awful. It was awful because, yes, as Stacy points out, it also was the cause of the Butker injury. That's correct. Let's see. We got Alex is asking, do you see Andy Reid keeping his foot on the gas and blowing people out of the water this whole year? In the past, it seems like he lets up. I hope we bury these teams every chance we get. I'll tell you what. I don't know about Andy. I don't think Mahomes is letting up any day soon. Mahomes was pretty damn keyed up in that Cardinals game. I don't think he's going to all of a sudden start letting up. They have a point to prove. Look, it's not quite on the level of like when the Pats had Spygate, because they felt like they were like victimized and all that stuff. The Chiefs have had to listen all offseason to people. Some people picking them to win the Super Bowl. Like, let's not also make this more than what it is, right? Like, a lot of people do respect the Chiefs and think they're great. But there were people that did not pick them to make the playoffs. The Chiefs are going to try to prove a point. But I also think in the end, like, it's about winning, right? Like, in the end, as long as you win the game, who cares? That's the most important thing. All right. Let me get to a few more questions that are in the chat on Twitter. I want to make sure I keep current on all those. Let's see. Should we be worried about Juju's fumbles? I wouldn't be. I mean, look, if he keeps doing it, sure, but nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about it. What is my score prediction for the Chiefs and the Chargers? Normally, I'd say you guys got to wait till Thursday when I put the picks out, but I'll bite. I'm going to assume that Allen and McDuffie and Trey Smith don't play in the game. Now, I could be wrong with that. I'm not. Like I said, I'll try to do some due diligence there and find out more, but I'm just basing it off a short week. I don't know if J.C. Jackson's going to play or not, so I'll leave that alone. I think the Chiefs will win 30-27. I think it's a really good game. If it was in LA, I might pick the Chargers. But it's a home game. It's a short week. And if Allen's not there, that changes their offense. It changes everything they do offensively. So I'll say that. I'll go that way. 30-27 Kansas City. Yeah, I feel like either team could win, but I think the Chiefs are the better team at the moment. Owen just asked me, do you think Juju has some character problems? After the fumble, he seemed pretty down the sideline, hasn't caught a ball. No, I think he's upset. He's pissed. First game trying to make a good impression. By the way, I thought he did. He had 6 catches, 79 yards. But I think he's frustrated with himself. I think he's frustrated with himself. Lego My Ego's asking, are you worried at all about Mahomes' left wrist? No, I'm not. I mean, they did all the tests and it came back negative. Look, they could always put a brace on it. I worry a little if he re-injures it on Thursday, but if he doesn't re-injure it on Thursday, then he's got a week and a half. I think he'll be okay. He didn't break it. He might just have jammed it up a little bit. If it was his throwing arm, count me very concerned. But offhand, I think he'll be okay. It didn't seem to bother him yesterday. All right. Do you feel, let's see, Carl Off-the-Maddox asked me, do you feel like everyone underestimated Minnesota this year, or is Green Bay just that bad? I think Green Bay's going to be fine. Green Bay lost by 1 million points week 1 last year. They ended up being the number 1 seed in the NFC. They'll figure it out. They got a lot of new parts. They're missing offensive linemen. Minnesota's going to be better. Kevin O'Connell coming over from the Rams. He's a good coach. And he'll unlock that offense to some degree. The question I have in Minnesota is, can that defense play like that every week? If it can, then they're going to be really good. And if it can't, then they're going to be a team that fights for a playoff spot. But the NFC looks awful right now. The NFC, it's 1 week. I don't want to overreact. They look terrible. The NFC was awful yesterday. God, who's the best team in the NFC? Probably Minnesota. The Saints barely beat the Falcons. Eagles barely beat the Lions. Wasn't ideal. All right, let's see. Darren's asking, did Mahomes take a good handful of hits yesterday, or was it just me? He was hit 6 times. It's a decent amount of hits. It's not a ton. Look, I also would factor in that the Cardinals blitz more than half the snaps. So you also have to factor, the Cardinals are just going to get some free runners at times to hit them. I think that's part of Vance Joseph's plan. I thought the offensive line early, first couple of snaps or first couple of drives, maybe through the middle of the second quarter was so. I thought after that they really cleaned it up. I thought they were okay. I thought they could have been a little better, but I thought they were okay considering how much they were blitzed. Chiefs in the clutch says, who will start a corner with McDuffie likely out? I think it'd be Jalen Watson. I got to tell you, I don't think that kid's going to be overmatched. You guys know if you've been listening, I thought Jalen Watson was big time all through the preseason. I think he'd be fine. I really do. Like, McDuffie's been really, really good when he's been there. Watson looks like a player. I think that kid go in there and be just fine. I honestly feel that way. All right, so let's see. C-Teach is asking on Twitter, why do so many want to put Mahomes on a level with Burrow, Allen, and Herbert, etc., when the resumes are Mahomes and everyone else? Because it's more interesting, right? I mean, honestly, I think that's why. Because I have a ton of respect for all the guys you just mentioned there. And I know people want to be like, oh, Burrow, he had 5. It was like the worst game of his life. Okay, but he's a really good player. None of those guys to this point are Mahomes. They're not. Mahomes has done everything you could possibly do in the NFL. Like let's put it this way. If Mahomes retired tonight, okay, there's an argument he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Like a real honest-to-God argument. There's no argument for any of those other guys, right? Mahomes has accomplished way more in his career than any of those other guys have. That being said, I do think Allen, I think, belongs on Mahomes' tier. Allen is ridiculous, okay? And look, if not for Mahomes last year playing an unbelievable game, I mean, Allen might have won the Super Bowl last year, and he was equal to Mahomes. It wasn't like Mahomes outplayed him. They were equal. Mahomes just had 13 seconds, and it was just enough time. And that's not on Allen. Kyle saying, I'll get the Chargers love. Haven't won the division since 2009 and have won double-digit games just once since then. Meanwhile, Mahomes has only lost to a non-playoff team 4 times in his career. Can the Chargers prove it first, please? Also, fun fact, as a Buck, Brady is 1-7 against the Saints and the Rams. It's interesting. Kyle, you know how I feel. Look, I've said this all offseason about the Chargers. I think they're really talented. Can they win one game that never matters before everybody just starts putting them in a Super Bowl? I look at yesterday as kind of an example of what I'm talking about, which is why I have a hard time with the Chargers. The Chargers outplayed the Raiders the entire game. Carr threw 3 brutal picks. I went back and watched that whole game last night after Sunday Night Football. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? Hand to God, 3 a.m. And I watched that whole game. Carr threw 3 picks. And sometimes that can be deceiving if you look at a box score, because sometimes you can, 2 of the balls go through a guy's hands. All 3 of them were awful throws. Awful. Right at guys. And yet, despite that, and 6 sacks, and Herbert playing really well, the Chargers were up 5 points with the Raiders 60 yards away from winning the game with 2 minutes left. How does that happen? How is that even a game? That is the thing with the Chargers sometimes, is they leave teams in it. They leave teams around. You do wonder about them. Look, I think the Chargers are very good. I think they're very talented. But, yeah, they got to prove it to me. And, by the way, if they win week 2, that doesn't prove it to me. They got to win big games late in the year. Got to do it. They won week 3 last year in Kansas City. What the hell did it do for them? That's not a big game. It's an important game, but it's not a gotta-have-it game. And whenever the Chargers play a gotta-have-it game, they don't get it. Okay? All right, let me catch up on a few questions here. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Okay. Alex is asking, do you think the PFF grades are due to them wanting to get interaction with the content they create? They know people will be mad. They know it will cause people to engage and talk about them. I hear that line of thinking, but for me, man, they're bankrolled. Chris Collinsworth owns them. NBC's partnered with them. They shouldn't be playing that game, and I don't think so. I think they really believe what they put out there. But in this case, it's just, I'm sorry. I very rarely am the guy And you can go scroll through my timeline for the last 5 years if you got enough time to do it. Like, I don't engage with that stuff. I just don't. Like, everybody's got their own opinion. It's fine. I understand that. This one to me annoyed me because I feel like it insults anybody's intelligence who understands football. Like, what are we doing? You're going to tell me that if the Chiefs had Ryan Tannehill yesterday, they would have played better? Like, what world are we in? What are we doing? That stuff just drives me nuts. Don't insult my intelligence, and don't pretend then that I'm the jerk because, oh well, you just watched the game and that's a shitty way to process it. No, man. If your process has him as the 8th best quarterback of week 1 after what he did yesterday, your process is shitty. I don't need to be lectured on how to watch a football game. Like, I can watch Mahomes and be, yeah, he played great today. I don't need the whole, like, well, it's a really easy throw on that one. Okay, great. He had an easy throw. Every quarterback in the league has 15 of them every game. Stacy, did you like the edge rotation yesterday? Yeah, I did, man. I thought they played Karlaftis a lot. You saw Dunlap and Clark rotating in. Dana played a lot. They played well. Dana had 6 pressures by one metric. So yeah, I was happy with it. I thought they did a nice job. They kept guys fresh, and everybody was playing well. I mean, Clark had his moments. Dunlap had a sack. Karlaftis was all over the place. The Chiefs' defensive line played really well. Give Cullen, the defensive line coach, give him credit there. They played really well. They were swarming. They were all over the place. Jeremy's asking, do you think the Chargers risk running out J.C. Jackson on a short week? Could be 2-0 in the division with a win. It's a big game. I think if he can play, he can play. I don't think they're going to hold him back. Look, they know how important this game is for them. You don't want to get behind Kansas City in the race. You don't. You got to be ahead of them because everybody in the league knows when the Chiefs really get rolling, like they can rip off 10 wins in a row. They've done it year after year. So if you're the Chargers, hey, man, if he can play. Now, look, if he's hurting and he needs a week, then to get rested. But if he can go. All right. Tom Hood, do you think we have the best rookies in the league? It's hard to say this early, but they've been very good. I would put it that way. It's hard to say this early, but man, they have a wide array of guys who you're really excited about. All right. Let's see what we got here. Is Mahomes throwing for more? Sorry, Jaden, I don't know. I'm misunderstanding the question. Is Mahomes throwing for more the 50? Just rephrase if you don't mind, man, and I'll try to answer you. All right. Let me see if I got a few more here on Twitter. From Alan, is Trey Lance in danger of losing his starting quarterback position after one game? Justin Fields looked like the better player yesterday. 49ers looked like they took the wrong quarterback. I can't get there, man. He played a month soon. Like, let me see. By the way, our video guy, Hunter Armour, who he is a Niners fan, he says, fuck that. So you take it up with him, Alan. I can't get there. I got to see. Give Lance a month of games. If he's not good after a month in some normal games, fine. But it was pouring. I mean, I'm based in Chicago. It's still pouring. It is still pouring. So I mean, I don't know. Like Garoppolo, he won that game. I don't know. Who knows? I can't get there yet. Josh is asking, didn't get to watch the Raiders-Chargers game. What were the Raiders able to do defensively to slow down LA with 3-car picks? It's not like LA didn't have their chances. You know what? They made a key stop on a 4th down, right on the edge of field goal range. Got on the ball back. They limited the Chargers. They made them take long drives. I think it was a combination of the Chargers having to make long drives. And also, look, the Chargers, they did not run the ball particularly well. That didn't help. They put themselves in some 2nd and 3rd and longs, so that was also part of it. All right. Let me see. Let me go through, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Do you think the Chiefs will get home against Herbert? The Chargers have a good line, man. They have a good line. The right tackle's a question mark, kind of like in KC. But, look, I think if they do, they're in great shape. I would say this. I think they might have to use some games up front. They might have to use some games up front because the Chargers are good there. And if they look, the one advantage of playing at home is you have that get off because of the crowd noise. It helps you. But I would say I think it's going to have to be a group effort. It's going to have to be more than just one guy winning. Like Herbert's a mobile guy. It's going to be difficult. The Raiders had a hard time doing it yesterday. So they're going to have to find a way. But I don't think it's impossible. The Chiefs have better guys in front than they've had in years. All right, let's see. Let's make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. It doesn't look like I am. So that's good news. All right. All right. All righty. Sorry, guys. Let me just catch up here real quick. Okay, Jaden, I see your question now, bud. Is Mahomes throwing for 50 TDs? Is that realistic? Yeah, we're so early in. He'd have to throw for 45 over 16. It'd be hard. It'd be really hard. I'll tell you what, I think he's going to throw for 40, but I thought that before the season. So I think you're asking. I mean, 50 touchdowns, even with 17 games, that is a lot. Just got to plug the old phone in. That's a lot. You're asking a lot of a guy to throw for 50 touchdowns. I don't care who you are. That's a that's a Herculean task. So I don't think he throws for 50, but I do think he could, throw for 40 plus without any issue if he's healthy. Bill Bond's not really a question, but OBJ or Orlando Brown Jr. I got to be honest with you. I know what you make. He got beat a couple times around the, but part of that was, again, the Cardinals blitzed like crazy. So it can look bad because you're like, oh, that guy was a free rusher off his side, but he wasn't really a free rusher. Like, he's accounted for by Mahomes. So there's a lot of that has to go in there too. I thought he was fine. I thought he had one drive of memory stands out that I was like, oh, okay, that was a little bit of an issue. I honestly, I don't think it was bad. I think sometimes when teams are going to sell out and they're going to blitz like crazy, like the Cardinals did, there's going to be some hits. And Mahomes stood in there and took a half dozen hits, and he absolutely destroyed the call. I'll tell you right now, I bet if you ask Mahomes, he's praying more teams blitz them and leave a single high safety. He'll take those hits all day long. I thought they were fine. I really did. I thought they were fine up front. I think their offensive line's getting a little bit of a bad rap. Alex, do you think Tyreek watched the Chiefs game yesterday? No, but I bet he was damn sure aware how many points they scored. I'd be willing to bet that. All right, let me see if I'm missing any questions. You guys are so good to hang out and chat ball, so I want to make sure I get to every single person. Let's see. My guy Pat, he knows I'm a Devils fan in hockey. Can the Devils make the playoffs this year, or we do them to another year of the endless rebound? I'll spare everybody in the chat who couldn't care less about hockey. I think they're not making the playoffs. They don't have enough depth, and the division is too tough. But I hope I'm wrong. Okay. I thought I saw Trey Smith come back out at the end there. Is that true? Any chance Kennard sees some right guard reps? I did not see him come back out. That'd be news to me. I know after the game, Andy Reid talked about that he was going to just kind of see how he felt in the morning. Again, I'll do some due diligence after I get off of the Q&A here. I'll try to find out some more. Stacy's asking, did you like the Sky Moore outing on returns? Yeah, man, I thought it looked great. He had a couple of returns of double-digit yardage. Good burst, good vision. Yeah, I thought he looked really good. Nothing unbelievable. Obviously, didn't score or anything, but I think if you're Dave Tobe, you're very happy with the way he looked. He had nice burst, nice wiggle. I love the catch he had. The one catch for 30 yards where he caught it for about 18 yards. He just bulldozed his way for another 12. Thomas is asking, how's the 1.5-year-old? No. I got one that's turning 5 here in 2 weeks, and I got one that's 5 months old. They're both good, and it keeps me busy. It keeps me busy, but I love both those little girls to death. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, I think we're good on Twitter. I think I'm all caught up there. That's good. How do you think the KC running game did? Good, really good, really good. The average, I believe, I don't have the numbers in front. I think they were 4.7 yards an attempt. And Pacheco looked good in his action. Look, I get it was a little bit of garbage in there in the fourth, but he looked good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked great. I was very happy with it. If you're the Chiefs and you run the ball like that, man, you're good. Honestly, you don't have to be the Ravens running the ball. If you're the Chiefs and you're running for over 4.5 yards a clip, you're good. You're good. By the way, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Arrowhead Addict podcast channel and the Stack in the Box YouTube channel. Okay, you're going to get tons of content tomorrow. Interviewing Stephon Diggs of the Bills. Going to have him on. Yeah, that's going to be an interview you can only find on Stack in the Box on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you'll be able to see it. There's a bunch of polls every week. You can be interactive. Talk about who you think is going to win the game. I always throw stuff up there. There's a show tomorrow. So that's just something. And if you want to become a member, by the way, the Arrowhead Addict podcast, go ahead and check that out as well. You can find it in the description. Just wanted to toss those things out there. But really, we got a lot of stuff. Man. And again, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're like, well, the Arrowhead Addict is enough for me. Stack in the Box has the Chiefs and then some. So I really highly, highly encourage it. All right, guys, let me see. What do we got here? Let's see. Do we have Any other questions that I am missing? I just always try to make sure to scroll through here. But listen, I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm interested in the game tonight, honestly. I think the Broncos win, but that game, there's a lot of emotion in that game. Okay, so Lisa's asking me, are you concerned about Patrick's protection with Smith's injury and OBJ versus the Chargers edge rushers? I mean, I think you have to be a little bit, right? I mean, I think you'd be foolish to just say, whatever. But I think Andy's smart enough to account for that. First of all, I think Allegretti can be good enough inside. The Chargers don't have great interior pass rushers, so I think you'd be good inside. Now they could try to, play games and get guys in, Mack and Bosa inside as well. But I think the Chiefs will be okay inside. The tackles are the thing. That's the thing you gotta be able to chip and make sure you're good there. But again, that's why I'm using motion. I'm using screens. I'm using quick passes. Get run after the catch. Like the Chiefs are built to do that. They're built to do all that stuff. Take a pass. I always think about Denver when they had Peyton Manning. They were amazing at that. I remember so many times with the Chiefs, they'd play him, and Tom Brady and Justin Houston would be coming off the edge, and you're like, man, Broncos don't have a great offensive line. We're going to hit Manning all game. And then, the game would start. Oh, no, actually, it's not going to happen because Manning's going to get rid of the ball in a second, and they're going to run a million pick plays, and that's the way they do it. That's how it goes. So I think the Chiefs have to have a similar attitude toward the game. Danny's asking, how do you feel about Karlaftis and Sky Moore? They're my two favorite rookies. Karlaftis looks amazing. Karlaftis looks great. And Moore looks good. But, I mean, Karlaftis, again, I cannot remember for the life of me who put this out there, but Karlaftis had 6 pressures yesterday. That's awesome. And it matches with what you saw. He was all over the field. He played really well against the run, had a batted pass. Really encouraged by what we've seen out of him. Stacy, can we please give Andrew Wiley his flowers? He didn't give up any pressures yesterday. I told people Kennard wasn't taking his job anytime soon. Andrew Wiley gets a lot of crap because he's not the other 4 guys on that line. But let me tell you something. I'm with you, Stacy. He's not a great player, but Andrew Wiley's a good player. He does not get beat very well. How many times have you watched the game with the Chiefs and been like, man, Andrew Wiley's just killing him? And don't tell me Super Bowl 55. Andrew Wiley, who's the least of their problems in that game, okay? He's done a serviceable job. He's a solid player. He's not great. He's solid. And I think he deserves more credit than he's given. I'm with Stacy on that one. Okay, let's see what we got. Marcus, how do you feel about Pacheco, CEH, and McKinnon in the backfield and what to do with Rojo? I think you do exactly what you did yesterday, man. I'd sit Rojo, and I'd keep rotating those other guys. They all look good. I'd keep playing them. AZ Chief, not sure how it looked on TV, but it didn't seem like Hardman had any interest in putting his hand in the body out to make any catches. I think that's a hard criticism because sometimes the ball is in such a place that if you lay out, you're almost ahead of it. If you've ever played, God knows I've never played above high school sports. Okay, so I'm not trying to be athlete guy here. But I remember even playing baseball, and I played catcher and left field occasionally, right? I was like a 4th outfielder, mostly a catcher. But my point is, you ever have a ball hit to you if you play in a position like that, and if you dive for the ball, you're not your body's in a position where you can't quite get to it, so you're better off kind of pulling up a little bit. I think with Hardman, both those balls just missed him, and if he had dove, I don't know that he would have caught him. I feel like he would have been ahead of the ball. Now, again, I don't know. I'm not him. Okay, maybe he could have made an adjustment, but on both the throws, it's notable. Mahomes pointed at himself. I think Mahomes knows that if he had made a little bit of a better throw, he would have had him. That's my 2 cents. Was at the game, 50-50 cards, Chiefs fans, it sounded like it. Zach, any update on McDuffie and Smith? Not that I've seen. But again, I will continue to try to look into it. Okay. Harvey asks, why is Snead so good at blitzing? I feel like he's got a good feel for it. It's all about timing and angles. And he's great at it out of the slot. He's really, really good at it. Jalen, did you see that Mark B and Hardman beefing on Twitter? No, I didn't. Thankfully I did not. How did Frank Clark play? Well, he did well. I thought he had a nice game. He was very active. He didn't have a sack, but he was very active. If the Chiefs beat the Chargers like they did the Cardinals on Thursday night, where is your confidence level after that? 1 through 10. If they beat the Chargers like they beat the Cardinals at about my confidence level 1 to 10 is about a 58. Okay, I would be shocked if either team beats the other one up badly. I don't think that's happening. If Kansas City goes out and beats them by 3 touchdowns, I think you should start really celebrating. I think the Chargers are a top 5 team in football. Ready Whip says the Raiders O-line is ass and Carr is not mobile at all. These things are facts. Cowboys suck. Okay, what's your take on the Bucs defense? I think the Bucs defense is good. I think it was helped out by the fact that the Cowboys basically had me playing about 8 different positions yesterday on offense. They were awful. I don't think the Cowboys would have beaten 28 teams in the NFL yesterday. They would have had a hard time beating the Jets. I mean, they were horrific offensively. But I think you do have to give the Bucs some credit. They played well. I was not overly impressed though with the Bucs offense. A little slow. All righty. Let me make sure here. I'm just trying to scroll through, make sure I'm not missing anybody. I hope I'm not. Alex says, do you think Andy Reid took into consideration that the Chargers would be watching this tape and threw some curveballs in? No, but I think he held a bunch of stuff. I'm sure them knowing that they had a short week and that they were playing a divisional game, I'm sure the Chiefs during the preseason prepared for the Chargers and had plays in there that are just for the Chargers. I would be shocked if that's not the case. Mahomes is a clear favorite to win MVP right now. Right now? I mean, through 1 week? Yeah, it's a long way to go. But yes, right now, yeah. If you voted today, he'd be the MVP of the league. All right. I think we're good. I think somebody asked, who is Mark B? I'm assuming Mark Botrichter. Lucas says, Frank Clark was graded at 41.4 by PFF. That's interesting. I'm not taking any more bait. I can't. I've spent enough of my day talking about PFF grades. I'm going to go ahead and guess it internally that Frank Clark does not have a 41.4 grade from the Chiefs. EB just said they've been playing for the Chargers game for a while. Yeah, I bet they have. I bet they have. I bet they've been playing for that Chargers game since about June. Okay. I would not be surprised. All right. I think I've got everything from the video side of things. I think I've got all the questions. We've been chatting for about 45 minutes. This has been fun. I really enjoyed this. All right. Hey guys, listen. I think I got everybody's questions. I really hope I did. Dear David, last question. Do you think the AFC West is going to be a monster of a division like everyone's predicting? Yes. I think there'll be 3 playoff teams. And I think Kansas City and LA are 2 of the top 4 teams in the conference. I feel that way, 4 or 5. I think the conference is going to be very good. Very good. All right. Hey, listen, everybody, thank you so much for participating in this, whether or not you're on Twitter or you're on YouTube. I appreciate you. I love this. I love the interaction. Also, of course, I really appreciate the support. Again, if you do not already subscribe to the Arrowhead Addict podcast or the Stacking the Box podcast, please subscribe to both. We really appreciate it. And I think, A, you'll really enjoy the content. B, we can interact more. It'll be a lot more fun. I am going to be doing a ton of content from both those channels. I just cut a bunch of videos for both of them. So it's not just the podcast you're getting. You're getting a lot of videos, a lot of interviews. Tomorrow, Stephon Diggs with the Buffalo Bills. I'll be able to talk to him plenty. But hey, listen, until then, thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody. And we will talk again later on this week, I am sure. Take care and have a great rest of your Monday.